Hello, everyone, and welcome to your passport to studying abroad. 5 considerations during your first year. We're so excited that you're interested in potentially studying abroad and excited to dive into the details a little bit more with you now in this short video. So, the first thing to think about is when you can go abroad. And the great news is that you can go abroad as early as the summer after your first year at Brandeis. So, that's next summer. You can study abroad any summer, and in order to be eligible for summer study abroad, the only thing you need to do is be in good conduct standing. Um, there might be eligibility requirements depending on what program you want to go to. So sometimes programs will have a GPA requirement, or they'll have a requirement that you need to be at a certain standing in order to participate in things like internships. But study abroad advisors can help you check those eligibility requirements depending on what programs you're most interested in. If you're interested in going abroad for a semester or for a year, you can do that starting your junior year. So usually for that, you would apply sometime during your sophomore year. If you are hoping to go abroad for any summer, usually the deadline is in mid-February, although some super competitive programs might have earlier deadlines. So we're excited as Brandeis to offer our own programs as well as having connections with a lot of other program providers, universities abroad, or US-based institutions that kind of facilitate the experience. So we have 4 right now, Brandeis run study abroad programs that all happen over the summer and are open to students starting in their first year. There is one in Copenhagen focused on business and economics. There's one in Merida, Mexico, focused on public health in the Yucatan Peninsula. There's one in Siena, Italy, on fine arts and art history. And there's one in Heredia, Costa Rica, focused on ecology and sustainable development. And with all of these programs, you would go with a cohort of Brandeis students, and in some cases, a faculty member as well who might teach one of the classes on the program. All of these programs have 2 classes that you take over the course of 5 or 6 weeks for the summer. So where can you study abroad? Obviously, there are those 4 places that I just mentioned, but there are also about 200 approved programs in more than 50 countries. So all majors and minors at Brandeis can and do study abroad. Um, and you can take a look at all of the programs that we've approved on our website. And this is a great way to just get a sense of what's out there, be able to filter by either location, language spoken, major or minor courses that are offered, or different areas that you're interested in. So, why might you want to study abroad? There are lots of reasons, and students come to us with all different motivations around why study abroad is for them. So, these are some of the most popular ones. One is to gain a new perspective on a major or a minor. So, a lot of times there are folks who are studying something that they're really interested at Brandeis, but they want to get a new perspective on it and they want to learn about it from a different context. There are folks who want to increase their knowledge of other cultures and just get to know new people, get to understand new ways of life. You can enhance your language learning or start learning a new language abroad. That is a major reason why folks go abroad. It's also an amazing way to develop your independence, your adaptability, and your problem-solving skills. Having to be more independent, and adjust to a new culture in a new country is a great way to enhance those what they call soft skills that are especially helpful as you adjust to work life or move on to graduate school as well in the future. Another reason is just to be able to explore, to live in a new place, to be able to see a different side of the world. And as I said before, studying abroad is something that really accelerates your growth in a lot of ways, not just academically, but also personally and professionally. And it's not something that a lot of people in the United States do. So if you do study abroad, it can really help you to stand out and be a more attractive candidate to graduate schools or to employers in the future. One thing to know if you're thinking about study abroad is that there are generally going to be language requirements. So over the summer, there might be less language requirements for programs, but during the semester, there definitely will be. And so you might know already that at Brandeis, there is a language requirement just in order to graduate, and that would be 3 semesters of the same language or the equivalent. And that is because Brandeis really values folks to have at least intermediate um, understanding of a different language other than English. Um, their study abroad requirement is that you have some background in particular languages before you go abroad, because the programs that you'd be going on will have either quite a few courses offered in that language itself, or we'll have higher levels of immersion with the local culture. And so if you are planning to go to any place that speaks French, Spanish, or Hebrew, we ask that you take 2 semesters at Brandeis or the equivalent prior to studying abroad. If you're interested in studying abroad in Italy, we ask that you take 1 semester of the language before you go abroad. Um, some programs will have higher language requirements. So, like I was saying, if there are programs where all of the classes are offered in French, for example, they might have a requirement that you have 3 or 4 semesters of background. The more language study that you have prior to going abroad, the better. So, we always say to start early and stick with it at Brandeis. If you know that you want to go to a place that is going to speak any of these languages, or even languages that are not necessarily required, like Hebrew, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, those types of languages. The more background you have, the more you're able to get out of your study abroad experience, the more you can talk to locals, the more you can integrate into local clubs and university activities, the more access you have to internships in those languages. So it's definitely a good thing to start thinking about from your first year. And you may know this already because you are watching this video, but it's never too early to start planning study abroad. So it's great that now you're kind of getting the basics, but we are always happy to talk to students who are early on in their planning, or to connect you with students who have done programs that you might be interested in so you can get a sense of what the process is like, what the programs are like. So as a recap, students can study abroad for a semester during your junior year or the fall of your senior year. But you could start summer study abroad earlier than that. And if you are thinking about kind of planning out your classes for the next few semesters, incorporate study abroad into that. Tell your academic advisor that you're interested in it. Tell your pre-health advisor that you are. And between their office and our office, we'll help you plan out your requirements so that the things that you're taking abroad are going to help fit into that. And so that you're not going to be stressed out in your senior year and come back having to fulfill way too many requirements. So early planning is especially helpful for those majors where you have a lot of sequential classes that you have to take in a certain order. So whether that's STEM or pre-health, for example, but it's also just helpful to anyone at any point. Um, and like I said, students can earn credit towards your major, towards a minor, or towards core requirements abroad. So it's a matter of playing around with those puzzle pieces and seeing what's going to make the most sense for you and your academic experience. Another great thing to do is to connect with faculty. Many of them have international backgrounds as well, or have worked with study abroad students before. And so they have a lot of great insights about programs, courses that could be taken abroad, just interesting places to go for your areas of study. They're also really helpful when it comes to recommendation letters. Sometimes a program will want to know from a faculty member's perspective if you're the type of student who is going to do well adapting to new cultures and do well adapting to new academic situations. And so you really want to start building those relationships in your first year, going to their office hours, speaking to them after class, just kind of getting to know them and allowing them to get to know you so that they can be the best resource as possible. And the last thing, of course, is to come to any study abroad events that we're hosting. So every year in September, we have the Study Abroad Fair. That's the biggest event of the year. It's when we invite all of our program partners to come to Brandeis and talk about their programs and promote the great things about the places that they work with. So that is an amazing place to go just to get a sense of all the programs that are out there and what the different opportunities are. And then we'll also have other events throughout the year too that are more social that allow you to interact with students who have gone abroad before. There are some programs and events that are led by our study abroad ambassadors who are our peer returnees who have been abroad before and now want to help folks have the same access to opportunities that they had. So stay tuned for more events throughout the year as well. And just a quick note on the application process. So, like I said before, summer study abroad applications are due in February usually. The same goes for semester and year study abroad applications, although there's another brief part of the process. So, in order to study abroad for your junior year, you will first propose your term by December. And what that means is you'll tell us whether or not you most want to study abroad in the fall or the spring semester. You will find out what term you've been approved for, and then you will apply to the program, usually during that similar February-ish timeframe in the spring of your sophomore year. So that is a really quick run through of study abroad, how the process works, and things that you can start thinking about right now. Um, we are really excited to help you make your study abroad dreams a reality and are always here as a resource for you if you want to chat more.